Imagine being just 15 years old and already the head of your household. This is the year young Yeshua becomes not just a big brother, but the father figure of his entire family. Stick with me until the end, because what he did next shaped the world forever. By the time Jesus turned 15, according to today's calendar, he had fully taken on the responsibility of caring for his family. Their savings had run low, and they had to face the tough decision of selling one of the houses in Nazareth that Joseph had co-owned with a neighbor named Jacob. On Wednesday evening, April 17th, AD 9, Ruth, the youngest child of the family, was born. Jesus did his best to take his father's place, comforting and supporting Mary during this very difficult time. He loved Ruth dearly and looked after her with the same deep care a loving father would. In fact, for nearly 20 years, Jesus was like a father to all his younger siblings. That same year, Jesus created a simple but powerful prayer, the same one he would later teach his apostles, and which many now know as the Lord's Prayer. It came about naturally. The family had various set prayers they used, but after Joseph's death, Jesus tried to encourage his brothers and sisters to pray in their own words. He loved doing this himself, but they struggled and often just repeated memorized prayers. So Jesus began helping them with suggested phrases. Over time, they all began using a version of the prayer Jesus had been guiding them into. Eventually, one evening in October, Jesus wrote down this prayer in full using charcoal on a smooth cedar board. From that moment on, it became their family's regular prayer. This year was also a deeply confusing one for Jesus. Though he remembered the spiritual experience he had in Jerusalem, which had stirred his desire to be about his Father's business, he chose to put his family's needs first. He reasoned correctly that taking care of his mother and siblings had to be his top priority at this time. During this year, Jesus also came across a scroll in the Nazareth Synagogue Library, an old book called the Book of Enoch. Even though he knew it hadn't really been written by the ancient figure Enoch, he found it fascinating and read it many times. One passage stood out to him. It described a heavenly being called the Son of Man, who once walked in divine glory with his Father, but chose to leave all that behind to bring salvation to the people on earth. Jesus found this idea deeply moving and closer to the truth of his mission than any of the traditional Jewish expectations of the Messiah. Unlike the hopes of many Jews, who expected a political leader to overthrow Roman rule and restore the kingdom of David, Jesus had no intention of being a military ruler or national king. He came to realize that his mission wasn't limited to just the Jewish people. So, inspired by the Book of Enoch, he decided that when the time came, he would call himself the Son of Man. By now, Jesus had begun to settle some important questions about his life's work. But he didn't share these ideas with his mother, who still firmly believed that he was destined to become the Jewish Messiah, even though he had clarity about his own path to reveal. God's loving nature to the world, he still wrestled with many questions. He wondered about the old scriptures that spoke of a Jewish savior. Were they referring to someone else? Was he really Jewish in the way the people expected the Messiah to be? His mother said he was a descendant of David, but Joseph had said otherwise. Jesus ultimately believed that he was not. Still, he couldn't ignore the fact that his mother had been right about many things in the past. And if he wasn't the Messiah, then how would he recognize the true one if he appeared during his lifetime? And what would his role be in relation to this person? Jesus also began to reflect on his responsibilities toward different groups: the Jewish people, his own family, the Roman rulers, and even non-Jews and their religions. These were heavy thoughts for someone so young, and he often pondered them while working long hours at the carpenter's bench, providing for his mother and 8 siblings. Later that year, Mary noticed their funds were running low. She passed the dove-selling task on to James, the next oldest, and the family bought another cow. With help from Miriam, the older sister, they started selling milk to their neighbors. During this time, Jesus often went alone to the hills to pray and meditate. He sometimes spoke of unusual ideas that worried his mother. She wondered if he was truly okay, but would then remind herself that he was a child of promised someone different, someone special. From that point on, Jesus began to share less of his inner thoughts, especially those that others might not understand. He realized that not everyone could grasp the deep things he was thinking about. So outwardly, he became more normal and conventional. Yet, inside, he longed for someone who could truly understand him. But his mission and identity were so unique, he had no one to confide in. He carried these burdens alone. If this touched your heart, don't scroll just yet. Like, share, and follow for more real, human moments from the life of Yeshua, told simply, powerfully, and with love. We walk with him one day at a time. God bless.